Nepean.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, and it's my pleasure to rise to contribute to the debate on the Building and Planning Legislation Amendment Bill 2022 and to restate my commitment to issues of enormous relevance and importance to those people down in my electorate of Nepean. And while the bill covers issues relating to the building sector, my focus will be on provisions relating to the green wedge and to distinctive area landscapes. Of course, the importance of the natural environment down on the Mornington Peninsula cannot be overstated, and I'm sure many members of the House can agree with me when there are environmental issues being spoken about or debated in this chamber. It's disappointing not to see any members of the Greens speaking on the debate. As I met with residents during the campaign period, it was made abundantly clear my community has a deep-seated belief that we live, and obviously I'm biased on the point as well, in the best place, the best part of Victoria, that's for sure. It's our natural environment that draws people to live in Nepean and why so many come down to spend their holiday periods there, and it must be protected, and I'm committed to ensuring that, and while ever I remain in this place, it will always remain front of mind. Of course, the green wedge is an important Liberal legacy, and one that I'm pleased to say that in this place all governments have embraced since it was introduced by Sir Rupert Hamer as part of a then Liberal government in the 70s. I'm committed to its preservation, and despite the unfounded comments by my predecessor during the campaign, the accusation that I or my party would ignore the will of the community in regards to these areas was wrong then. It's wrong now, and it will be wrong so long as I serve in this place. Now, the Mornington Peninsula Shire are already ahead of the game in terms of establishing protections for these areas, and I thank them for that important work. And back in April 2019, the Shire released a comprehensive green wedge management plan. Now, the 150-page document details a snapshot of the green wedge, as well as issues around appropriate dwellings, tourism and agriculture, as well as recreation. And importantly, there is a stated action plan with a broader plan which holds the Shire accountable and gives the community a clear understanding of what to expect from the Shire moving forward. Now, moving on to protections or provisions regarding the distinctive areas and landscapes, I broadly support the government's approach to streamlining the processes around this policy, but what I would say that in recognising the Macedon Ranges, the Bass Coast, the Bellarine and the Surf Coast as areas under the policy, the government made an important omission, and that's of that on the Mornington Peninsula and of Arthur's Seat. While there's a localised planning statement for the Mornington Peninsula, the first of its kind and introduced by the Liberals in 2014, the additional recognition and protection to safeguard my electorate should be afforded to such an ecologically irreplaceable region. And had those protections been in place, my community wouldn't have had to go through the stress and worry of fighting off a quarry expansion up on Arthur's Seat, and also nearly 10 years ago, and thankfully, because of the work for the member of Warrandyte, fighting off a big tip going onto that quarry site. And thankfully that proposition was overturned by a Liberal government at the time, so thank you for your work on that. I want to take this opportunity to pay tribute to the many groups that have worked on keeping this area protected. Particularly the Peninsula Preservation Group and the Save Arthur's Seat campaign, and especially the work of Mark Fansett with both those groups. Mark and his team have done a fantastic job highlighting the absurdity of destroying an iconic part of not just Victoria, not just the peninsula, but of the world, the native wildlife, the fauna, everything that goes with that area, just to put a quarry on the site. And their work eventually led to that proposition being withdrawn. And I had the pleasure of meeting Mark and his group at his home in Red Hill during the election campaign. And look, the fight that they have put up to allow that native vegetation, but they've also trying to create, and what will happen if we do finally lose the quarry, which many in the community would love to see go, those paths for the natural fauna to create clear movement paths through that green wedge. Adequate and extra protections would make these sort of proposals like the quarry expansion or tip dead on arrival in the future, and I'm sure my community would welcome that. And again, for me, this is just an important opportunity to restate my commitment to the preservation and protection of Nepean's natural environment, and also to publicly thank those amazing volunteers who have committed themselves to that campaign. I support the reasoned amendment put forward by the member for Croydon, and that's all from me.